Well, here we go. Tonight is NXT Vengeance Wrestling fans. I'm Joe Cronin. This is the Joe Cronin Show. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. Hope you're having a good Valentine's Day. We really hoped that this was going to be Valentine's Day Massacre, but I guess they decided that, well, let's not put massacre, in something. Speaking of massacres, my dog upstairs is on a massacre right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the food's here for Valentine's Day or whatever is going on. I'm not sure. But tonight is Vengeance, and people are saying, Joe, why are you doing a video now when you're going to spoil your alert system for tonight? I just don't care. Here's your warning. I will be live after NXT Vengeance, as you would expect, and I'm also doing this quick predictions video before we get going here to hype this thing up a little bit. MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. This is going to be a big one. I think everybody wins here. You talk about who's going to win the match. Hey, who's going to win this match? What's going to happen? Whatever. I think we're all going to win the match because I think this is potentially could be a just knock down, tear it up, just absolutely insane performance. Potentially tonight, I would look for this one to surprise us all, hopefully. If things go the way I would want them to go, I would want literally like the Young Bucks versus the Young Bucks here or something like that. I don't know, man. But Grizzled Young Veterans, I'm going with MSK myself in this, and I think it's, potential for one of the highlights of the night. Obviously, I think that's an easy prediction that, just about anybody could make that in this case. Then moving over to the women, we got Ember Moon, Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai in the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. And listen, I absolutely love Dakota Kai, man. I so love her. Ever since her matches with Tegan Nox, Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai really rose up to be my favorite women in the division. So anywhere Dakota Kai goes, I will follow. However, in this match, I really do think this is a faces win here for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. I think it's really about legitimizing Shotzi Blackheart a bit. If I was booking, I may actually make Dakota Kai. I would probably pick Dakota Kai to win, with Raquel Gonzalez. I'd want to put them over if it was me booking. That's what I would want to do. But I have a feeling that Shotzi and Ember will take this, so it'll be a big face win. And so I'll go with I'm going to go with the faces here tonight of Shotzi and Ember in that match, even though if I was booking it, it would be different. I'm just trying to brainstorm what they're doing, and I just think they want to ride this train with Shotzi Blackheart, and they've already lost too. So like, there's they've got to get some wins, I suppose. So this is maybe that situation. NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano versus Kushida. Kushida been chasing a while. Johnny's freaking out over Kushida. But it's NXT TakeOver, it's Vengeance, and quite honestly, this one was a little bit rough for me. I wasn't sure, but I know it's really tough. It's really tough to say here. Where could happen? I think Johnny Gargano is actually going to retain the belt. I think he's going to hold on to it. I kind of want to pick Kushida. But and one of the things about this too that I'll state is that I have not been watching NXT every week. So if I knew what happened last week and the week before with Gargano, 100%, I would be more able to judge this situation. I think that Johnny has been playing hot pocket or hot potato, whatever it is, with the belt. And if it's me, it's just like, man, that belt has been bounced around so much. I kind of want to give it a little more legitimacy with somebody kind of hanging on to it a little bit longer. As much as I love Kushida, he'll be around still. He'll be able to take it at some point later or be able to do other things. Johnny Gargano, let him keep putting this belt on the map and keep it going. So I keep the belt on Gargano. That's me. And we see what happens, with everything else later on. NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai versus Toni Storm versus Mercedes Martinez. This potentially, to me, obviously, this is a match that could steal the show, but it's not going to. I think this match will be middle of the road, if not one of the more disappointing things we see tonight. And that's, I don't know why, but I know that you're like, what are you throwing shade at the match for? What the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. It's weird. I don't know why I'm being negative. Probably all the matches are going to be good. And when I say one match isn't going to be as good, I mean if everything else is an 8, this could be a 7. That's what I'm saying. But this could steal the show. I could eat my own hand after this because this could steal the show. It really could. But I just think the chemistry's weird. But that's just me. Io Shirai, I still can't see anybody taking the belt. With Toni Storm still being needed, I think other places, Mercedes Martinez would be a great champion to hold the belt or something if Io Shirai was going away. Maybe then to pass it off to Toni. But I don't know. Unless Io Shirai's going somewhere that I don't know about. And Io Shirai is going to be great on the main roster, too, when she does go up because she can speak a lot more English than many of the other Japanese women that have come up and gone up and things like that. And she's got this. But, obviously I don't want anybody leaving NXT at this point because every time they do, it's just a nightmare for the most part. Or it's kind of like, well, that was their best days was NXT. So, I think Io Shirai is going to maintain the title, retain the title, and I don't think this belt is going to leave her shoulder until the WrestleMania week in that NXT takeover. So I think this belt stays on Io Shirai. That's my opinion. Again, I've missed some of the story going into this, but that's my half-witted opinion on this. Then we come to the main event, baby. Pete Dunne, a man that I saw have one of the best matches of the year that I saw anywhere at a flippin' house show against the Velveteen Dream in Lowell, Massachusetts at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. This is a guy who's had many great matches. Finn Balor has had good matches too, but in my opinion, Finn Balor really relies on his opponent to be dynamic, hybrid, and different for Finn Balor's moveset to mean anything and to come alive. I find Finn Balor's moveset fairly predictable in the WWE and in NXT. So in my opinion, if this thing doesn't have brutality, potentially blood, and some, high-impact crazy moments, this is potentially a dud because I just think sometimes Finn Balor's moveset is too main roster to really open up the NXT bottom roster. But with Pete Dunne being brutal, being sadistic, and being kind of unpredictable and a bit unorthodox sometimes in the ring, this has the potential to be one of Finn Balor's better matches ever in NXT, in my opinion. NXT Championship on the line. If it's me, it's hard to say. We've had brawls with Dunne and everybody that he's working with ever since he flipped and turned and joined Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, and everybody else. He's got that new attitude. I thought it was a good story when he did that turn. They've gone after Balor heavy here. This is a very heavy attack on Balor. He joined with, Undisputed. We've had this big, honestly, it really reeks of, some kind of a setup here for some kind of a big stable fight coming up next. So I don't know how this match is going to go. I don't know how this is going to set up. It almost feels like why aren't we booking towards, these two different stables fighting each other? It's not just a one-on-one match, but I am going to say that I am going to pick Pete Dunne to win, man. I don't know if it's some kind of screw job or something happens at the end here. I'm not really sure, but I really do think that you push Pete Dunne to the moon at this point. You got Finn Balor. He's already legitimate. Obviously, he could hold the belt until WrestleMania too, but, until that NXT TakeOver WrestleMania weekend. But I almost want Pete Dunne going in. Look for your golden boy, whether that's Balor, whether that's somebody else on the roster, whoever that is, and try to set that program up for WrestleMania weekend in the big NXT TakeOver and put the belt on a real son of a bitch like Pete Dunne. That's my opinion, and you NXT fans out there may be saying, Joe, you don't understand with what happened a couple weeks ago. Why would they blah, 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 blah? Well, you may be right, because I did miss a lot of NXT, and that's why I really wasn't into doing a predictions video about it right now, because I watched it the least amount I ever have in a long time. So that's me right now coming in on this thing as a bit of a big-time casual. And one of the disappointing things about NXT this week, too, is it feels like the people are agreeing with me, because NXT just drew one of the worst ratings ever. I mean, they had a pretty good show from what I understand, and from what I watched too. Everyone's saying the show is pretty good, and it's like, man, they just drew this horrific rating. I mean, we're getting under 500,000 territory now from NXT, and I am shocked by that. But Anyway, NXT Vengeance is tonight. It was supposed to be St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but they didn't want to say massacre, so instead they said Vengeance. They kept the V because that would have been there with the little devil horn, so they were still able to do it, still able to do the V. Vengeance for Valentine's Day. They could have called it that. They could have changed the name instead of Vengeance. If they wanted to keep Valentine's Day in it, they could have said Vengeance on Valentine's Day, or the Vengeance on Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day Vengeance. They could have said that. But honestly, do you really want Valentine's Day in your wrestling pay-per-view title? Probably not anyway, so let's just stick with Vengeance. Tonight, it's Vengeance, and I'll be live after NXT Vengeance right here on the Joe Cronin Show. NXT, why aren't you watching it on the WWE Network? You should be. Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. This could be an epic battle, and I hope it is. I hope I see you guys tonight. Thanks to all the patrons on Patreon who have supported me and jumped up to the producer tier. Thank you guys very, very, very much. Sith Negan, unbelievably over 2 years at the $100 spot. That's crazy. Monetized this the other night. Was great. You haven't watched it, go back and watch it. I have a big podcast coming with Jman from KC on Patreon as well. You're going to love that. Shout out to Frog Kid, who became a $10 VIP, and Brian Harper in the $5 spot. Sean DeGamer and Inspector Todd as well for being patrons. Shout out to them, and also to Daniel Mendez. Tonkatsu Todd, who became a $25 producer. Jon Snow, $2.15 is back. Cora is back, and Useless Robbie in the $25 spot, and Alan Stober. Firebird87, Chris C. Thank you guys all for being on Patreon, and I'll see you guys tonight after NXT Vengeance. By the way, the alert will go to you on Patreon if you're a patron, by the way. You should get an alert there as well.